Hello everyone. So it's less than 3 days now to a very powerful anniversary, 8 years since the Philadelphia experiment. So let me tell you a little bit about that first, because this is a time space issue here of time travel is involved and invisibility. Einstein and Tesla both worked on that project. They were working with the military on that classified project of invisibility, creating invisibility of big ships, and they were successful in 1940 in September, the first time, as we learn from all the documents which have been released since. And then on August the 13th, August the 12th actually, in 1943, that was the date which was set, and as it says here, top Navy brass of 1943 insisted that August 12th was a drop-dead date for running the invisibility experiment aboard the Eldridge. Now let me first add in, this information has only much later really come together piece by piece. These people who were involved were all mind wiped, and they only actually, interestingly enough, in 1984, that is, as you can see, 41 years after the experiment, there was this Hollywood movie made on the Philadelphia experiment, which probably some of you have seen. It is giving you the background story. Yes, it's a little more, it's a love story on top. So, but the scene, the setting it is within is quite authentic. Anyway, this triggered memories coming back by several of these people who were involved, and for some miraculous guidance, at least two of these engineers who were individually involved and worked together in a team, they didn't know each other in normal life, because each evening they go through this process of switching to another personality pretty much. Anyway, that's a totally different story, but the information we have today, and I will post all the links, I have about 7 or 8 really relevant links, and I show you in a minute. Maybe I should quickly guide you through those before we go deeper here into this, because first I want to show you here, this is 7 hours Art Bell covered here on this subject in in the early, I think it's the late 1990s it was when this finally was big. Here you see the link, it's 7 hours and 27 minutes. So with Al Bielek, one of the two who were involved in the project. This is Al Bielek, one of those two who remembered, who actually were the two main engineers on the bridge of the Eldridge who were in charge of running the experiment. Now the story is really interesting, and I mean there's several books out there about it from different people who were involved. The long story short, and here you see a picture of Al Bielek with Paola Harris, who is one of these UFO researchers you probably know, and so it's this whole field also naturally involves extraterrestrial information. Here you have that link with the giving you the details here, and thus relating to the August 12, 2003, 20 years ago, which was another significant date. So anyway, the ship was deemed invisible pretty much as soon as the experiment was started, and the two engineers on board who were running the show in the machine room, the bridge, pretty much immediately they realized that the experiment had gone haywire. All the levers, all the gauges ran into the red, the circuits were highly overloaded, and they both panicked. They couldn't shut it off anymore. It was locked in place. So they panicked. Duncan and Al Cameron were their names. They were two brothers, two young engineers, and they jumped overboard to save themselves, because that's how serious they considered the situation. Anyway, they didn't land in water. They landed in the future, in the year 2137, and they were found with heavy radiation burns, brought into a hospital at that time, and recovered within 6 weeks' time. And there's many interesting details. I mean, these men came from 1943. They had big screen TVs on the wall of these hospitals, and they were naturally asking questions, and they found out, yes, they had landed in the future. And also the map of the world was quite different, which made them ask, and they were told, yes, there was some big earth changes in the early part of 21st century. And we are just about there, so that is a possibility. I mean, this is a potential future which becomes way more probable because it has been already visited, and there has been a loop created. Anyway, these two engineers recovered fully. They were brought back, basically back to the Eldridge to destroy the equipment. And 4 hours later, actually, they arrived, and they were instructed to use sledgehammers to shut the experiment down, and that was when the ship came back into visibility again. That was 6 weeks in the future. Actually, it's even more crazy. One of the two brothers was brought into the year 2749. Here you see, this is a little note on that. American man Al Bielek claims he was part of the legendary Philadelphia experiment in the year 1943, and that he had time traveled. He said he spent 6 weeks in the year 2137 and an entire 2 years in the 20th century. It shows you the relativity of time and space both. I mean, there's also stories, you probably have heard those, of several of these military insiders who were age regressed, so you are taken away from this planet. Let's say you're 17 or 18 years old one night, and you're brought for 20 years to work out there. And then after that, when your 20 years are over of assignments, then you are beamed back, and pretty much 5 minutes later it can be still in that same night where you were taken out and brought back into this time-space continuum. So this is how crazy it is, really. This is all possible. All these technologies exist. They were developed starting with the Philadelphia experiment, and then in Montauk, that was kind of the high time where Al Bielek was one of the main engineers involved in. Here, this is a great place if you're interested, and again, this is the one, the site Al Bielek, bielek.com. This is all information which he shared with Hutsageris is the name of the gentleman who put the whole site together. There's lots of information in here. So Ed and Al were the two engineers, and Al is the one who has the strongest and most direct memories. It's another good site which gives you the overview. Anyway, to come back to where I started here, before I lose my thread completely, because I don't want to keep you here for 2 hours. I really want to give you the basics, and then if you're interested, you can do more research and read up on it. It's really, I guess it's the thriller of our times, and it's really needs to get back into greater numbers of people understanding, particularly in this time we are here now, where all of a sudden extraterrestrials are deemed real, and yes, we definitely will. And I actually heard from a friend, they already might have started that whatever Project Bluebeam thing down in the Amazon or somewhere. They were reporting there was a war already going on between the aliens who were attacking these native people or whatnot. Anyway, this is latest news I've heard. I'm having it not confirmed, but it definitely totally ties into what I'm telling you here. Okay, so let's read here a little bit, because so Top Navy brass in 1943 insisted that August 12th was the drop dead date for running the invisibility experiment aboard the Eldridge, and they were in a real time crunch, as these people who remember were involved. However, they were pushed. This was not any, and there were to be no ifs and ands and buts. The experiment had to occur on that particular date. Bielek was later to find out that on August 12th, at 40-year intervals, actually 20 years it should say here, but naturally the 40 is more powerful again, and I will show you why. And we are actually now at the second 40-year anniversary. So you see the magnitude we are dealing with here, really, of what is coming up as a peak point in that, what they say, Earth's biorhythm. We are getting there in a minute. So every 20 years roughly, but even more so, yeah, actually you see for 903, 43, 83, actually it should say here 23, you get it. So this is actually exactly telling you it is the 40-year rhythm. The four principal biorhythms of the Earth would lock up and match in phase with each other on these dates. This phase lock up creates, yes, we have to use the present now, present tense. This phase lock up creates a time window that will allow very unusual space-time phenomena to occur, but only on that date, they claim. Well, we will see. And it probably has to do with astrology, so I'm guessing it has to do with the degree the sun is in, and to this we will get into our next video. I just really want to give you an intro first, because otherwise it gets too long. But you already see, this is the chart for the start of the experiment, heliocentric. We had a Pluto-Jupiter conjunction here at 7 degrees Leo. Very, very powerful degrees. That is hexagram 31, which is the, well, let me give you the exact name, because it really matters. 31 is influencing. Yes, this is an energy which is very determined, pushing into one particular direction, a focused, intentional influence. It is one of the leadership channels, so it shows you the power which came through here. And then just a quick short overview of the overall energy, which is always in the heliocentric, the most pronounced. We have this exact trine between Eris and Pallas and Mars. You're at 7 degrees Aries. This is whenever Pallas and Mars are involved, this is the science of energy, the science of power. Mars is red hot iron, and Pallas is the one which works with that energy, applies it in intelligent ways. And then Aries, I mean, this is the one which does not give up, which is ready to go through hardship and opposition and potential failure at first in order to achieve the truth. Aries is an extremely what's the best word here? Uncompromising force. I guess that's probably nails it down. So there is no ifs and buts, as it says, and then we have Uranus in between here at the 60-degree point. I mean, this structure in itself, and then Venus is here in another sextile opposing, coming into opposition with Jupiter and Pluto. This is real fireworks. Yes, and actually that was generated on that date, but we will get deeper into this, and also in the anniversary chart, solar return naturally of that moment. Let's get back to, I really want to show you a few more things about this. Okay, so yes, the story is they jumped overboard. They were afraid, and they got transported in hyperspace, which is, you could say, it's entering through the 0 point, where all dimensions that, if you think each dimension is kind of a plane, there's one point where they all intersect, and as space and time can be collapsed, this is the place to travel through, and then you can go in any direction. This is a multi-dimensional web of space and time. The East Indian Hindu understanding is there's an ocean of time. I think it's really much more than that. It is real three-dimensional. I mean, an ocean is three-dimensional. I guess it is as good as one can say it in language. And this is really the entry point into a whole new understanding of time and space. We are just going through. So this is massive, and this is multi-dimensional. Let me go back to what I was reading, because I have still not finished. So this phase lock-up would create a window that would allow very unusual space-time phenomena to occur. Bielek contends that negative aliens had manipulated the human planners of the Philadelphia experiment to run the experiment on August 12, on that high point, in order to allow large numbers of their ships to pour through the hole in the space-time continuum and access our universe. Is that not interesting? Particularly in this environment of what the general narrative is right now. So this could really be a phase lock again, and we're coming into a nodal point where something truly manifests. Now, let me say this much more, and this is giving it a little bit away. This anniversary coming up is really positive in its basic nature. We will definitely see the crystal shadow too, and I liked that word the 9 created. Where there is lots of light, there is lots of shadow. It is really that, and as we are fueling the light, and particularly now in the second half of Leo, yes, a little bit astrology you have to spare to take, but this is basic. The first 15 degrees of Leo, where the sun was in just till 2 days ago, around the 7th or so, was combustion. That is the word. Then Rudyard is fractaling it down, if you want, zoning it in onto one word, into one word. So the first 15 degrees of Leo is combustion. this is fire pure. And then the second 15 are release. It's now the fire has been brought to that perfection, to that intensity where it is released, and that is the 15th and following, the 16th actually, 1500 naturally till 2959. So this segment, the last part of Leo, is release, and so this is also tied in naturally to the whole Lionsgate idea. And again, the 15 degree Leo mark is exactly 30 degrees from where Sirius is in the sky, 20, let me say it right here, so 1453, I guess, something like that. That is where Sirius is in Cancer. I showed you the chart around that time with Sirius right at the 7th house cusp of the global chart. Yes, it was clear this would be an influence we would see through the whole year, and now we are at the 30 degree mark of that. And the 30 degree angle actually in astrology, sorry, I will throw in whatever comes in my mind, it's important, it matters. So the 30 degree angle in astrology is not given the respect and the importance, as I understand it, that it would deserve. This is companionship. These are two brothers standing side by side, and it is always a complement in elements. So it is in this case here with Sirius in Cancer and the Lionsgate portal in Leo. It is water and fire coming together, and water and fire are the most potent and basic polarities, if you want. Anyway, so this is kind of the outline of what we are looking at. Again, I leave it at that. Please watch my other video, which I will do on the astrology. In this one I give you all the links, as I say, and if you feel like this is really something to dive into, and you can get lost in it, it's so vast, because it really leads you see, to the Montauk project first of all, and I didn't even mention that. I really have to. So this is really what the midpoint is between August 12, 1943 and August 12, 2023 is August 12, 1983, and that was actually the day the two engineers came back from the future. They were having an stopover on August 12, 1983, and there they were expected to come, because one of the people who, anyway, it's getting really convoluted and complex, and this shows you the complexity of the subject in itself. So in 1983 they arrived in midnight on that Montauk Point military base, and they were instructed and received by the engineer, the main engineer on the bridge, who had been doing all the final calculations, Dr. Neumann, and he had worked together, as I said earlier, with both Tesla and Einstein together. As I understand it, Tesla, once he understood the full scope and also got results from the prior experiments, which were done with unmanned ships. That was, as I say, in 1940 in September was the first successful test. Basically, it's electromagnetic frequencies, these antennas, which are placed in very definite angles to one another and then powered up with huge electric fields. They create that bubble around an object, and transported, kind of jolted out, lifted out of this space-time continuum and opened that door to hyperspace and for time traveling as such. Anyway, Tesla is the story. Didn't want to follow through. He got out of it, and that could probably be one of the reasons he died later that same year. Just a thought. Anyway, so in 1983, these two engineers came back and were instructed, and they had to go back to the ship and destroy the equipment. One of them then, in the last second before the field collapsed, jumped overboard again. He just couldn't bear to see the damage that was done, and he jumped back into the time bubble and ended up in 1983 and stayed in 1983. So he was, you see, you get the picture. There was a definite two big nodal points were set in that time-space fabric. So you can expect something really huge to open up, become a possibility just a few days away. So again, this is that site which is really well done, gives you the whole different timelines. It's really well done to help you understand the complexity of what has been going on. And then also I want to show you this one. Bielek also was personal friends with Phil Schneider, who probably many of you have heard stories of. And yes, this is it. So thanks for listening, and I hope I got you excited to also learn about the astrology of that experiment. Here is the chart quickly for those of you who would like. You can stop it here. Anyway, thanks for joining and listening. See you soon, and push the subscribe button, please. Thank you. Love you all.